Since the shutdown, right-wing bloggers and pundits and politicians and strategists have all been trying so hard to somehow spin the shutdown as if it's favorable to the GOP. A recent Gallup poll shows that the party's approval rating dropped 10 points in a month to 28%. Congressional Republicans, according to a Zogby poll, were at 13% approval. Now, when you hear this, you might think you're losing. If you were someone who thought rationally, you would think you're losing this effort to spin the story. And you would have to change the strategy. Change what you're doing.
What are you, a communist?
Maybe end the government shutdown that you caused. But no. Because you see, the negative polls themselves are yet another approach by Big Brother to attack the conservatives who are just trying to save this country. Village Voice has this great piece where they look into these right bloggers and the right-wing internet sphere where they spout these things. And they pulled up some interesting theories from these right-wingers on how these folks are, to borrow from that famous phrase that was going on during the 2012 elections, they're here to unskew the polls. Now, for those who don't remember, this guy, Dean Chambers, just this amateur poll guy. He just thought he was looking at all the polls that the big government poll companies, I guess he wants to call them, would put together. Whether it was ABC, NBC,
those communist organs.
Yes. And then those leftists over at Wall Street Journal.
Right.
Yes.
They're more like democratic. They're socialists.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
They're not quite
If you remember,
communists.
this Dean Chambers guy put together this website called Unskewed Polls. And he claimed that all these polls from, what was the one at the New York Times? Nate Silver's poll?
Nate Silver.
Yeah, Nate, what was his thing
isn't
called?
that 325? Is that it?
Something like that, yes.
I don't remember.
5'8"?
5'7" I don't remember.
All right, well, Nate Silver's thing.
I just always knew it as Nate Silver. I didn't
Yeah.
really, yeah.
Well, Nate Silver, who pretty much
Was right about everything.
was right about everything, yes. Anyway, this guy, Dean Chambers, said everyone was wrong. Nate Silver's especially. He's some nerdy left-winger. And this guy, Dean Chambers, said he came up with the perfect mathematical solution on how to unskew the polls. And when he did this, all signs pointed to Mitt Romney becoming president of the United States of America. And as you know, Dean Chambers was right, and Mitt Romney is now the president of the United States of America.
Right.
So we'll just,
We've been living in a liberal bubble.
we've been living a liberal lie. Yes, this has been our bubble. But that's not what happened, sadly, no. But that's not stopping PJ Tatler's Brian Preston, who learned that in one such survey conducted by NBC and the Wall Street Journal, 20% of respondents were either government employees or relatives of government employees. Ooh. I'm not screaming unskewed polls, but it's questionable. So basically,
Like, they've gotten really prudent.
yeah, I'm not screaming unskewed polls, but I'm screaming unskewed polls.
I'm not saying I was abducted by space aliens, but I am saying that there are some blank gaps in my memory, and I could have been.
Over at right-wing blog Bunkerville, they said that the
That is so aptly titled.
the
Bunkerville.
NBC Wall Street Journal poll that sinks the GOP is skewed. They go straight for it.
Nice.
Mark Levin, a fraud, an absolute fraud, demonstrably, I'm sorry. I guess because he can't demo it. So it's not what I thought. I'm reading it wrong. Demonstrably skewed. John Hawkins of Right Wing News. That Wall Street Journal poll was slanted to the left and Obama's numbers are actually plunging. perfectly consistent with the conventional wisdom of the traditional media, which everyone knows is heavily skewed against the Republicans, said Mark Tapscott. Rush Limbaugh chimes in. The sample is skewed in a number of ways, and we know who did the poll, and we know where they live. We know what their desires are. Rush easily. I mean, when you put Rush's quote up against these others, you know why Rush is successful.
Rush is king.
Yeah.
Rush is king.
But Rush continues. But then again, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of success in running around trying to convince low information voters that the poll is bogus. Oh, man.
You also know why he's king right there, too.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Dean Chambers of Unskewed Polls himself chimes in. What has to be understood is liberals and their allies and willing accomplices in the so-called mainstream media, I can't even not laugh, in the so-called mainstream media don't live in the real world. I mean, this is really unbelievable. I mean, but they think or claim they do. They live in their own unreality, which they have created, in which their skewed media polls and their biased and one-sided news coverage of the major issues of the day are the truth. Jeez. But see, not all the right-wingers are so demonstrably, as Mark Levin likes to put it, skewed. We have Marion Evans of Ricochet. He said in response to the ABC poll that showed 71% of the public blaming Republicans for the shutdown, only 61% blaming Democrats, and an even lower 51% blaming Obama, Marion Evans says, for our purposes, factor in Obama's greater charismatic appeal. And you can call that poll a tie. Basically, Obama is so damn likable that his 51% compared to the Republican 71% is basically a tie.
That would be amazing. I would love that. That would be like playing a one-on-one game of basketball with like Kobe. And maybe like as a charity, he lets you score 1 point. And then you're just like, well, if you factor in the fact that you're Kobe Bryant.
So that 2 to 106 is sort of like the same.
Yeah, it's like 50-50.
Tied game. You actually, I think you owe me money.